I've been working as a night ranger at Crater Lake National Park for 6 months, and my job is simple. Patrol the rim road from midnight until 6 in the morning, making sure no one's camping illegally. There's an unofficial rule they told me on my first night. If you see someone standing at Watchman Overlook after 2 in the morning, don't approach them. Just radio it in and leave immediately. Last night I saw 7 people standing there, all facing the lake in perfect stillness. And when I radioed it in, dispatch told me to return to the station. But when I turned around, one of them was standing behind my truck, and she looked exactly like me. I took the night shift because the pay is 40% better than day rangers make. And while most people avoid these hours because it's lonely and cold, I've always been a night owl. Crater Lake is stunning under the stars. The deepest lake in America at 1,900 feet, formed by a collapsed volcano. And at night the water looks completely black, like an endless void. On my first night, my supervisor Karen pulled me aside, and even though she's been here 15 years and doesn't scare easily, she looked genuinely nervous. She handed me a handwritten note on yellowed paper dated 1997 and said every night ranger gets this list of rules. Never stop at Watchman Overlook between 2 and 4 a.m. If you see someone there, don't approach them. If they wave, don't wave back. If they call your name, don't respond. Radio it in and return to station immediately. Don't look in your rearview mirror until you're past Rim Village. And if you break these rules, request transfer within 48 hours. I thought it was hazing, but Karen didn't laugh. She told me every ranger who didn't follow the rules either quit within a week or disappeared, and 3 rangers have vanished from night patrol in 30 years, all last seen at Watchman Overlook. For 5 months, I followed the rules perfectly and saw nothing unusual, just quiet nights and beautiful stars. Then last week on February 9th, at 1:47 a.m., I was approaching Watchman when my headlights caught someone standing at the stone wall facing the lake. It was a woman around 30 with long dark hair wearing a ranger uniform, just standing motionless. I checked my watch. 1:47, not 2 yet, so technically the rules didn't apply. I got out and called to her, but she didn't respond. When I got within 10 feet, she turned around and her face was my face. Exactly my face, but female. She smiled and said I shouldn't have stopped. I stumbled backward and fell, and my watch hit 2 a.m. exactly. The moment it did, 6 more figures appeared along the wall, all rangers, all perfectly still, all facing the lake. I scrambled to my truck and drove away, radioing Karen with shaking hands. I told her 7 people at Watchman at 2 a.m., one with my face. After a long silence, she told me to return immediately and not finish my patrol. When I got back, she looked pale and asked me to describe everything. After I did, she said I'd stopped before 2 a.m., which was new, and that they were adapting by appearing earlier to catch rangers before the rules protected them. I asked what they were, and she explained nobody knows for certain, but they've been reported since the 60s, always between 2 and 4 a.m. at Watchman, always wearing ranger uniforms. Some think they're ghosts, others think they're something that mimics people. The rangers who disappeared were all last seen there, and afterward other rangers reported seeing them standing at Watchman at 2 a.m., apparently trapped forever. They take the form of whoever sees them first, like a lure. You see yourself, you get curious, you approach, and then you're caught. I should have quit, but I kept working and avoided Watchman completely, driving past without looking. That worked until last night, February 15th, when I took the long route to avoid the overlook, but saw all 7 of them standing on the road at Rim Village, blocking my path. The woman with my face stood in front. I stopped but kept the engine running. They didn't move, just watched me. I shifted into reverse and they started walking toward me in unison, then running, but their movements looked wrong, too smooth, like gliding. I spun around and drove forward, and when I checked my mirror, they'd vanished completely. I radioed Karen that they were hunting, but got only static. The radio was dead. I drove to the ranger station, but all the lights were off and Karen's car was gone. Inside, the building was completely empty. The patrol log showed my 1:30 entry as the last one, like everyone had vanished. I heard footsteps upstairs, slow and deliberate. Every door in the hallway was open and empty except the supervisor's office at the end, which was closed with light underneath. Inside, Karen sat at her desk, with her back to me, staring at her computer. I called her name, and she said I'd broken the rules. I protested, but she said I'd looked in my mirror, and that counted. She turned around, and her face was my face. She said, "They are the park. They've always been here. And now I am too, because I saw myself at the overlook. I'm already one of them." The me standing there talking to her is just an echo, while the me at Watchman Overlook is the real one. I ran to my truck and drove toward the exit, but every turn led back to Watchman Overlook, like the park was looping. After an hour, I accepted I was trapped. I parked at the overlook and walked to the wall where they all stood. 7 figures in ranger uniforms, all facing the dark lake. I looked down at the water and saw my reflection, but it wasn't moving while I moved, like I was the reflection. And it was real. I'm writing this with 4% battery remaining. If anyone finds this, don't take night shifts at Crater Lake. Don't patrol after midnight. And if you see rangers at Watchman Overlook at 2 a.m., don't stop, don't look, don't acknowledge them. They're not rangers, they're copies. And if you see yourself among them, you're already there. The person driving away is just a memory of who you were. It's 3:47 a.m. now, almost 4. The rules say they disappear at 4 a.m., but I'm still here, standing at the wall, and I can't move. When 4 o'clock comes, maybe I'll disappear, or maybe I'll stay, waiting for the next ranger who breaks the rules. The lake is beautiful at night, perfectly still and perfectly black, and you could stare at it forever. We do. The trail markers changed while I was looking at them. Red blazes on trees guiding hikers through the forest. I turned my back for 5 seconds. When I looked again, they were pointing the opposite direction, like the forest was rewriting itself. I followed them anyway, for 6 hours, until I realized I was walking in a perfect circle, and in the center there was a cabin with smoke coming from the chimney and my car parked outside. But I left my car 8 miles away at the trailhead, and I don't own a cabin. I've been hiking the Appalachian Trail for 3 weeks, solo through. 2,190 miles from Georgia to Maine. I'm an experienced backpacker, done dozens of trails, always prepared, always safe. The AT is well marked. White rectangular blazes painted on trees every 100 feet. Impossible to get lost if you follow them, until day 18, somewhere in Virginia. Remote section. Hadn't seen another hiker in 2 days. The white blazes started acting strange. I'd be walking north, following markers, then suddenly they'd be leading me east. I'd backtrack to where they changed. Nothing, same markers, but pointing differently than 5 minutes ago. I thought it was dehydration, playing tricks. I drank water, rested, checked my compass. I was heading north. Blazes agreed. I continued. 10 minutes later, they were pointing west. Compass still said north. The blazes were moving, changing, rotating while I wasn't watching. I decided to ignore them, follow my compass. Pure navigation. But the forest grew dense, undergrowth thick. I needed the trail, needed the blazes, so I followed them. Even though they kept changing, even though they were leading me in circles. After 6 hours, I found myself back at the same distinctive boulder. Third time, I was walking a perfect loop. The blazes were herding me, keeping me in a specific area. I sat down, checked my map. According to GPS, I was exactly where I should be, on the trail, moving north. But physically, I was trapped in a circle. Then I saw the cabin, small, log construction, ancient looking. Smoke rising from stone chimney, and parked outside my car, my exact Subaru Outback. Same license plate, same dent on the bumper, same hiking stickers. But my car was 8 miles away at the trailhead. I'd been hiking for 18 days. There was no road here, no way a car could reach this location. Yet there it was. I approached slowly. The cabin door was open, warm light inside. I heard someone cooking, humming, a familiar tune. I looked inside, a woman cooking at a wood stove. She turned, smiled. "You're home early." It was my wife. But my wife was back in Colorado. We'd said goodbye 3 weeks ago. She wasn't supposed to be here, couldn't be here. "Sarah?" I whispered. "Dinner's almost ready," she said cheerfully. "How was the hike?" "Sarah, what are you doing here? How did you get here?" She looked confused. "What do you mean? I live here. We live here. Are you feeling okay?" I stepped back, looked at the cabin, really looked. Photos on the walls, me and Sarah in front of this cabin, photos I'd never taken, memories I didn't have, a life I'd never lived. "This isn't real," I said. "We don't live here. I'm hiking the AT. You're in Colorado." Sarah's smile faded. "You've been gone too long. The forest does this. Makes you forget. Come inside, eat. You'll remember." "Remember what?" "That you never left. That you've been here for years. That the trail doesn't end. It just keeps going. And eventually everyone who walks it ends up here, in their cabin, with their life, the one the forest gives them." I ran back to the trail. The blazes were gone, all of them. Every tree blank, no markers, no path. Just forest. I ran anyway, for hours, until I collapsed. When I woke up, I was at the trailhead parking lot. My car was there, keys in my pocket, like I'd never left. But my pack was different. Worn, used for years. My boots were ancient, falling apart. And when I checked my phone, the date was wrong. Not 3 weeks, 3 years. I'd been gone 3 years. But I only remembered 3 weeks. I drove home. Sarah was there. She screamed when she saw me, called the police. Said I'd disappeared on a hiking trip 3 years ago, presumed dead. But I looked exactly the same. Hadn't aged a day, I tried to explain. The cabin, the blazes, the circle. She didn't believe me. The police found my pack. DNA confirmed it was mine, but it showed 3 years of wear, 3 years of weather damage. Like I'd been hiking continuously for 3 years without stopping, without aging, without leaving the forest. I still dream about the cabin, about Sarah cooking dinner, about the life I almost accepted, and sometimes, on trails near my house, I see blazes, red ones, not white, pointing into the woods, changing direction when I'm not looking. I never follow them, but they're always there, waiting, offering a different life, a different trail, one that never ends. Every national forest campground has a host, usually retired folks living in an RV. They check permits, answer questions, collect fees. The host at Willow Creek Campground is named Tom. Been there 40 years, never ages. I know because my dad camped there in 1985 and took a photo with Tom. Same face, same age, same clothes. I camped there last week. Tom looks identical. He remembered my dad. remembered the photo. Then he smiled and said, "I'll remember you too. Everyone comes back eventually. Some take longer than others, but they all come back. And when they do, they never leave." Willow Creek Campground sits deep in Tongass National Forest, Alaska, remote, beautiful. 25 sites, river access, perfect wilderness camping. I'd wanted to visit since my dad showed me photos from his 1985 trip. He'd been 23 on a solo adventure before settling down. In his photo album, there was a picture of him with the campground host, an older man named Tom, maybe 55, gray beard, flannel shirt, friendly smile. Dad said Tom had been incredibly helpful, taught him about the area, the trails, the wildlife. They'd spent hours talking by the campfire. 40 years later, I finally made the trip. Drove 12 hours to reach the campground, pulled into the host site. An old RV parked there. A man emerged, gray beard, flannel shirt, maybe 55. "Welcome to Willow Creek," he said. "I'm Tom. Been hosting here for a long time. You staying the week?" I stared. He looked exactly like the man in my dad's photo. Exactly. Not similar. Identical. "Have you been hosting here since the 80s? Tom smiled. "Long time. A lot of campers through here. A lot of memories." I showed him the photo on my phone. My dad and Tom from 1985. He studied it, nodded. "Good man, your father. David, right? Spent a week here. Loved the fishing. Caught a 30-pound king salmon." My skin crawled. "How do you remember that?" "That was 40 years ago. I remember all my campers, every single one." "You look like him. Same eyes, same curious nature. You'll like it here. Most people do. Most never want to leave." I set up my tent at Site 12. Nice spot, private, near the river. That night, Tom came by with firewood. We talked. He asked about my dad, how he was doing. I said Dad had died 2 years ago, heart attack. Tom went quiet. "I'm sorry, he was a good man, but don't worry, you'll see him again. Everyone comes back to Willow Creek eventually." "What do you mean?" "The campground. It calls people, brings them home. Your dad came in 85, left, but he came back." "No, he didn't. He never mentioned coming back." Tom smiled. "Not in life, but after. They always come back after. Look around tomorrow morning, you'll see." That night, I couldn't sleep. Something felt wrong. At 3 a.m., I heard voices, laughter, campfires. I looked outside my tent. Sites 1 through 11 were occupied. Tents, RVs, cars, families, couples, solo campers. But they'd been empty when I went to sleep. And it was 3 a.m. No one arrives at 3 a.m. I walked through the campground. People sat by fires, cooking, talking, living normal camping lives. But their clothes were wrong, outdated, 70s, 80s, 90s, vintage camping gear, old cars. They smiled at me, waved. "New arrival?" one man called out. "Don't worry, you'll love it here. We all do." At Site 7, I saw him, my dad, age 23, exactly as he looked in the 1985 photo, sitting by a fire. He looked up, smiled. "Hey, kiddo, wondered when you'd make it. Took you long enough." "Dad? Sit down. Let me tell you about the salmon I caught. 30 pounds. And Tom's got it mounted in his RV." I sat, trembling. "You're dead. You died 2 years ago." "I know, and then I came back here, to Willow Creek, where I was happiest, where everyone who camps here eventually ends up. Tom's been here since the 1950s, never left, never aged, just hosts, forever. And we're his permanent campers, living our best camping trips, forever. This isn't real. It's the realest thing there is, better than what came before, better than what comes after. This is the in-between, the forever campground. And you're here now, which means..." He trailed off, looked sad. I ran back to my tent, packed everything, got in my car. Tom stood at the exit, blocking the road. "You can leave," he said, "but you'll be back. Maybe not today, maybe not for years. But you'll come back. Because you felt it, didn't you? The pull, the peace, the sense of home. Willow Creek doesn't let go. Once you camp here, part of you stays. and eventually all of you returns. I drove away, checked my rear view mirror. The campground was dark, empty, no fires, no campers, like it had never been occupied. I made it home, told my wife. She thought I was grieving, processing Dad's death. Maybe I was. But every night I dream about Willow Creek, about the campfire with Dad, about Tom's smile, about the forever campers, and I feel the pull, stronger each day, calling me back, telling me I belong there, that I'm already there, just haven't realized it yet. Last night I woke up in my tent at Site 12, not in my bed, in my tent at Willow Creek. My wife shook me awake in our bedroom, but for those 5 seconds I was there, and I didn't want to leave.